Welcome into our WNBA studio here at CBS. We brought some of the brightest minds in the business, the national champion at UConn and two-time WNBA champion Renee Montgomery, and of course the great Dawn Staley, Hall of Famer, six-time WNBA All-Star, a three-time national champion head coach of South Carolina. We're talking about some of the best. You guys are the best, and so are some of these players here playing. MVP conversation. It's gotten heated up. I think there's maybe a group of front runners there at the top four players that you start to look at that you really feel like have separated themselves from the pack. Napheesa Collier, Alyssa Thomas, Allisha Gray, A'ja Wilson. Let's first talk about those players. What stands out to you? Because the numbers are eye-popping really any way that you look at it with these individuals.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at those front runners, all of them lead in a statistical category. So that's going to put you at the top of the race always. So when you look at Fee, she leads the WNBA in points per game at 23. Then when you look at Alyssa Thomas, she leads the league in assists per game at 9. You look at A'ja Wilson, she leads the league in blocks per game, and she's very close in rebounds per game to lead the league, 2.2 blocks. And then when you look at Allisha Gray, Big Al, she leads the league in made three-pointers, 76. So those players, Allisha Gray having 2 players of the month, A'ja Wilson a player of the month, Fee a player of the month, those players have pretty much made their dominance felt in some way, shape, or form on the game. So that's kind of why they get into those front-runner conversations, in my opinion.
What about for you, Coach?
I have no issue with those 4 being the top candidates for MVP. Obviously, I got half of that list in a bias.
That you coach.
Yeah,
You got a lot of those. Right? You got a lot of those in the league.
But I think Fee being part of the top team in the league is deservingly the favorite at this point. But then when you pick an MVP, you gotta break it down. Like, you have to break it down. She's injured at the moment. Alyssa Thomas has been injured. A'ja Wilson's missed a few games. The Iron Woman has been Allisha Gray, though. And I don't think she's talked about in this MVP candidate race. And we need to talk a little bit more about her and what she's able to do. She's starting to come out of her shell. She's starting to talk a little bit more. She's got taste testing segments on TikTok, right? That I actually take time in my day to look at her and Ryan doing that. It's very, very, very funny.
Yeah.
Game is not funny, and it's not funny that she's on this list. So I'm liking the list, but I had a question for you all.
Oh, here we go.
Can the MVP be on a middle of the road team?
I think that's always the question.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with one more thing on Allisha Gray in the Atlanta Dream. Like we talked about, where you've got a Minnesota team that's separated themselves from the pack. New York Liberty, Phoenix, and the Atlanta Dream are all right there, and the consistent part has been Allisha Gray. I think that's where it gets tough in deciding the MVP, because what do you look at? There's so many things that stand out, but to me, sometimes it does come down to winning. Where is your team at? What was the expectations to start the season? And how much have you contributed to the value of where your team is at this point?
Yeah, I think one place you can't be is in the bottom half. I mean, when you say the middle, because the middle is up for interpretation, because when you look at the standings right now, you have a 5-game difference between 10th place and 4th place and 5th place. So when you talk about the middle and there's only a 5-game difference, it dramatically shrinks the conversation. I do think, though, when I'm looking at MVP, the first thing I look at is the best player on the best team. Who is that? What do their stats look like? Is anyone else comparable? Like, for instance, you'll have outlier years where Alyssa Thomas is getting triple-doubles left and right and almost averaging a triple-double. Well, we saw Russell Westbrook win MVP that season and be in the conversation when he was doing that. So then you start to, okay, well, this person now makes the conversation. You have to do something dramatic for me to not have, if your stats aren't comparable. Fee has 23 points per game right now. The next closest is A'ja Wilson at 21 points per game. So not only is she the best player in the best team, her stats are the best as well. I think this year it could easily flip, where A'ja Wilson last year was MVP. Fee last year was Defensive Player of the Year. I think that could easily flip, and Fee is MVP this season, and A'ja Wilson Defensive Player of the Year.
I know I'm asking all these questions, but is it fair to say?
Are you going to give supposed to answer one.
I said Fee is the favorite at this point because of where her team is now. If she's out for a significant amount of time, her team continues to win. What are we talking about now?
I think it depends on how long. You know, they did not give a timetable, I don't think, for Fee. But
she was going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she'll be back.
Yeah, so reevaluated in 2 weeks. I mean, again, it would have to be a lot that happens because that kind of was Coach Reeves' complaint when it came to All-Stars. She was saying that, you know, going into All-Star break, there wasn't anyone close to her squad. Yet when you look at other teams in the middle of the pack, they might have had 3 All-Stars. I think the Washington Mystics had 3 All-Stars. Brittany Sykes, Kiki, Sonia. And then you look at the Minnesota Lynx, and they don't necessarily have the All-Stars that's talked about, but they have players that are doing work. So it's tough because we know their team is good. I think if Fee was out the rest of the season, the conversation shifts. 2 weeks, I don't know.
And
what do you think?
You got to talk about it. You do, because they don't. When is it named? That's number one. Is it named through the playoffs, right? Through the playoffs.
I don't know. I think this is a regular season award.
I think it's a regular season award, but as a coach, like if Minnesota is still multiple games ahead and they don't need to rush her back, then what does that do in the longevity of saying, well, make sure you're 100% if there's not as much of a rush to get back? I want to take us shift lanes. I feel like there's been a lot of discussion about these 4 individuals, deservedly so. But let's open up the chat a little bit wider.
Okay.
We talk about MVP discussion. Is there anyone just outside these 4 players that you think has a valid case of being in the discussion? This is for both of you.
I mean, I do. I mean,
hey, Coach, come on.
I would say you got to talk about Kelsey Mitchell, right? You got to talk about Leah Boston, right? And in the same breath, what does that do to the league if you have an MVP on an Indiana Fever, and it's not Caitlin Clark?
I don't understand. Like, I understand Kelsey Mitchell. I think Aaliyah Boston will be in the MVP conversation at some point in her career. I don't know if she's in it yet. Obviously, Sabrina Ionescu is averaging 19 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 5 assists. She's in the conversation as well. I think it's tough, though, because this is what, if you only go by stats, it's going to be hard to pick any of these categories. I mean, this is the conversation that happens on any sport. If you only go by stats, I think the eye test has to matter. Your impact on the team has to matter. So So you think that Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell should be in the conversation for MVP?
I do. If we're just strictly talking about, their contributions. I mean, look what they've done this year. Like how many wins? 17? Yeah. Looks like they're gonna get their 18th win pretty soon.
I mean, they're at the number 5 spot.
Drastic. You take any one of them off their team, they're impacted in a big way. Any one of them.
Yeah.
That's why it's all a part of the discussion.
Yes.
Which we appreciate. A lot more discussion.
Listen.
A lot more discussion to be had because we got you covered all season long in our WNBA studios from CBS. For Dawn Staley, Renee Montgomery, I'm Sarah Kustak. We'll see you next time.